And Hilary Rosen is here in the Situation Room right now. Hilary, thanks for coming in. I see you smiling a little bit, but I don't know why you're smiling.
Well, I'm smiling at sort of how crazy this all is, because first of all, I have been a stay-at-home mom. This is not a debate about stay-at-home moms versus working moms. I said this afternoon, and I said it actually last night, that what I meant had nothing to do with an attack on stay-at-home moms. What I meant was that Mitt Romney is using his wife as an economic surrogate. He himself said it. And I just thought that that was off base. He needed more. And I think that we are all sort of falling victim to this amazing crashing political machine in this campaign to move away from the real issues, which, as I see it, and saw it last night and still see it, is, does Mitt Romney really understand the struggles of women economically who are supporting their families, who are struggling in their jobs, who don't have a job, who have been thrown off unemployment insurance, whose kids' daycare funding has been cut off or threatened to be cut off if the Romney-Ryan budget passes? Those are the issues we should be talking about.
But you said, Hillary, you said that Ann Romney, quote, never worked a day in her life.
Yes. And that was, look, I'm a mother, right? Anybody who knows me knows that that's not what I meant, and I prefaced the comment by an economic comment. I respect women and moms all the time. I've fought my whole life for women to make choices, to have the choices that Ann Romney talked about. I'm impressed that she defends them nicely. I like that her kids are out there. That's not what this is about. This is not a debate between working moms and stay-at-home moms.
How should you have phrased what you wanted to say? Because this was an awful way of saying it, because she's not only a hardworking woman, you know, raising 5 boys obviously is not easy, especially someone who has MS, has breast cancer. This is a wonderful woman, and so how should you, if you could do a do-over?
If I had the do-over, what I would be saying is that Mitt Romney should not be on the campaign trail saying to women, my wife tells me how it is for women out there, because people of wealth sometimes take for granted some of the niceties that they have in life. And the Romneys are people of wealth. She doesn't just she's not just a one-mom.
All right, so look into the camera. If Ann Romney is watching you right now, talk to her.
Well, I said a few things this afternoon, but I'll say it again. Mrs. Romney, I applaud your decision to stay home and raise what are obviously 5 wonderful boys. This is not about stay-at-home moms versus working moms. I think your husband needs to stand up for women's economic struggles, and so far we have not seen how he's going to do that on the campaign trail. It hasn't come out of his mouth, and maybe it will at some point, but this is a distraction that his campaign is forcing on the American people to avoid his record on the issues.
I didn't hear an apology.
Oh, well, I sent out an apology this afternoon.
I didn't hear you say to her just now.
I'm sorry. Well, I assumed that Mrs. Romney saw my apology this afternoon, but if not, I apologize. Working moms, stay-at-home moms, they're both extremely hard jobs. I know, I've shared them both, and I'm sorry if that offended you.
I want to put this clip. She was also, we heard a little bit of what she said on Fox earlier in the day. I'll play this little clip right now.
If I get a chance, I want to tell you what women are telling me. And Hillary needs to know this, because I've been on the campaign trail for 1 year. And guess what women are talking about? And I don't care if they're stay-at-home moms or they're working mothers or they're grandmothers. Guess what they're all talking about? They're talking about jobs, and they're talking about the legacy of debt that we're leaving our children. That's what I'm hearing. And that's what we're talking about here.
She makes a fair point there.
She does make a fair point. I do think that's what women care about. And when Mitt Romney was governor of Massachusetts, let's go back farther. When Mitt Romney ran Bain Capital, his record of hiring women was terrible. Fewer than 10% of the senior executives at the company were women. There've been, you know, and he actually went on the record and said, well, I just couldn't find qualified women to serve in these positions. No woman alive believes that.
Here's what I don't understand, because you're an excellent and very astute political strategist. All those points you're making are fine, but why bring Ann Romney into this conversation? Why did you have to you hated it when conservatives, right-wingers, used to go after Michelle Obama or a spouse or a wife of any of these Democratic candidates. Why bring her into this conversation?
Look, Wolf, you know, I should not have chosen words that seem to attack Ann Romney's choice in life, and I apologize for that. But Ann Romney and Mitt Romney brought themselves into this conversation. When he goes on the campaign trail and says she is his economic surrogate, when she goes out there and makes these points, I'm not bringing them into this. Come on, that's a little too much.
Okay.
We know that they have brought themselves into this.
When Michelle Obama goes out there and speaks on behalf of her husband, should conservatives or Republicans go after Michelle Obama?
You don't think
they do,
that the Republicans are going to hold Michelle Obama accountable for every single thing that comes out of her mouth and always have? Of course they have. Appropriate? You know what? When it comes to the family, no, but when it comes to defending your husband's record, when it comes to what you do in your life, those things end up happening. That is the political world we live in, and she will pay the price if anybody believes that the Republicans will lay off of her.
You're a lifelong Democrat, but the Democrats are quickly throwing you, as you well know, under the bus. Yeah. Hillary, the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, tweeting, "Every mother works hard, and every woman deserves to be respected." Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the chair of the Democratic Party, disappointed in Hilary Rosen's comments. As a mother of three, there's no doubt that raising children is work. And Vice President Joe Biden just gave an interview to MSNBC in which he said, and they've been tweeting it, "My response to that is that's an outrageous assertion." And you saw what David Axelrod and Jim Messina from the campaign, the Obama campaign. How does that feel when all your fellow Democrats are going after you like that?
You know, I totally agree with what the First Lady said about women. That's what I've felt my whole life. So what she said is fine. What the rest of them said, you know, that's politics. The Republicans slammed and came at this pretty quickly. People who know me know that I didn't intend that, but my words were not very good. You know, if they want to play politics with it, that's fine. It doesn't change the issues. Doesn't change whether Mitt Romney appeals to women or not, and it doesn't change the fact that I still believe Barack Obama has the best record to run on that supports women.
Have any of these people or others in the White House or at the DNC or at the Obama campaign contacted you, spoken to you about any of this today?
I've had several supportive calls.
Supportive? What are they saying?
Well, you know, people understand. People know me. They know that I wouldn't attack a stay-at-home mom, and that that's not what I think this debate is about. So I'm comfortable with that, and people who know me, I think, are comfortable with it too.
And you heard in the Joe Johns report that Jay Carney, the White House press secretary, right out of the box, he's asked about you and your comments, and apparently your name, or Hilary Rosen's name, comes up 35 times having visited this Obama White House. Listen to what Carney says.
First of all, I haven't seen the records. I don't know that Hilary Rosen, I know three personally, women named Hilary Rosen, so I'm not sure that that those represent the person we're talking about necessarily. So I really can't comment on the number of visits since I'm not sure that's accurate.
It sounded a little insulting, don't you think?
I don't know any other Hilary Rosens, but Jay must. So, yeah, you know, it's politics. It is what it is.
I mean, it's politics. One thing for the Republicans to be slamming you, which, you know, obviously that's politics. But for all these Democrats, and you've worked so closely with them over the years, to quickly...
You know, I think that the modern day campaign and the swiftness of the charges and the countercharges and the intensity of it is enormously frightening for campaign professionals and for consultants and candidates alike. You know, everybody's words are parsed so carefully. And, you know, I've clearly been on the other side where I've jumped on people's misstatements. So I'm not claiming victim here. So when people go for the corner, their respective corners, I understand it. It's, you know, it's not personal. I hope Mrs. Romney knows that I didn't mean it personally. I was trying to talk about the economic issues. But, you know, this is going to be an ugly campaign season. And, you know, if this ends up being the start to it, so be it. But actually, I don't think it is.
I think someone, you'd probably be happy about this, if could organize a little face-to-face time between you and Ann Romney to talk about this in person. That would probably be helpful, don't you think?
You know, we don't need a beer summit. She doesn't have to answer to me. Her husband is the one running for president, and he's got to make his case to American women that he's got a vision for them and that he understands us. And whether we want to be stay-at-home moms or whether we are struggling with 2 jobs to feed our families while he wants to give his rich friends a tax cut.
Hilary Rosen, thanks very much for coming in.
Okay, well, thanks.
Good luck.
Thanks.